right. Welcome and good morning. Good afternoon, Baker, to you.
Good afternoon and good morning.
Yes. Welcome everybody in chat. So it's funny. It's weird to watch one of my streams back and see Baker's intro video, and now everyone gets to watch Baker's stream back and see my intro. Uh, it's what we do, but we're dual streaming this trial. This is Texas v. Ronald Burgos, the Border Patrol murder trial, day 5, part 1. This is morning coverage. Right now, we are waiting for the court to go live. We have our cameras up, and we are just sitting back and waiting. And, Jung. Hello, Jung. You're waiting for my movie review? You might get one. Can David handle lunch? I'm fine this morning, actually. So I took a nice 2-hour nap, and then I went and watched. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me do this. Let's see if I can add this. There we go. Look at that. Boy, oh, there we go. See, I went to Indiana Jones last night, and I got my little collector's cup. Isn't it pretty full? So that's what I did yesterday evening. Got back around 1:30 a.m. And now I'm here bright and early for all of you all for your entertainment. But good morning, Josie. I see you in the chat. And Farrell's actually here. It's amazing. She heard about last night, and so she wanted to show up, I think.
Yeah, I talked to Mo because she had the power out last night, and she demands that you get the white girl wasted the next time she's on.
I don't know if that's going to happen again. It's going to be so. So there's like 2-month intervals. It appears, and we'll keep it that way or longer. Maybe. Farrell claims she was here last night. Maybe she was. I don't know. Was she here last night?
She was here shortly after the Peterson verdict, if I remember right. But I remember pulling out the 100 proof moonshine. So
let's explain a little to the new people. Maybe Christine. No, Christine's a member. Yesterday, the trial was very boring. We spent the first morning, or the whole morning, rather, talking about or having a Dahlberg hearing about battling of cell phone experts, which was boring. I mean, it wasn't boring. It was an interesting argument, but it was a little tedious at times because of the Zoom component.
Yeah, and it became boring because they went into an argument about technicalities that wasn't really relevant. Again, a guy being used as an expert in more than 50 cases is just suddenly not an expert. And it's all of it because they didn't like what he had to say. So again,
yeah, and that's sort of a trend we're seeing. It's really easy to qualify the state's experts, and it seems like it's really difficult for the defense experts. I will say, though, however, that yesterday's Dahlberg hearing was about disqualifying the state's expert. So we weren't trying to qualify the defense expert. So the judge was being a little rough on the defense expert, I felt, but they weren't challenging his ability to testify or anything like that. They were challenging the state's expert. But nonetheless, the state won, and the expert was allowed to testify. And then it got really boring with him droning on about cell phone data and how it works and all of this stuff. And cell phone data was important in this case, although I didn't really hear the evidence I wanted to hear. It could have been important. It was just maybe more his manner of speaking, the way the questions were coming. It was very boring. And I was having a frustrating day to begin with. And then Brandon showed up. So that's where the day took us. But we were here. We are focused. We are ready to go. Present quality legal commentary today.
If they present anything worthwhile listening to, because the afternoon yesterday, it just I could see a very strong closing argument with the GPS data and the cameras, and then they went into this internal affair HR lady who said, "Yeah, we gave the other people access to his things, and then we looked into his locker where he had some ammunition and condoms." But we know this guy wasn't a fan of condoms because he was a baby daddy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Is the condoms? I feel like that's exonerating evidence, right? Reindeer, I saw on court TV, they say the GPS in the car is the strongest. The prosecution just needed to present it in a less boring manner. So actually, the GPS testimony from that woman, Skeletor, that was actually kind of interesting. I wasn't here for most of it, but I did watch it, and I didn't find it terribly boring. But I found it very interesting, especially when it kind of put him at the time, date, and location of the murders. So that was it wasn't boring to me. The cell phone guy was more boring. Oh, welcome, Jamie.
Yay! The day just became so much better.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go take a nap. You two take over. Barrel clipped it, David. Wait, what? Keep your phone away from your hands.
So don't call court again.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to call court before the stream to find out if they were actually going to have trial on Monday. I'm assuming they're not on Tuesday since that's actually a holiday, but I wanted to know if they were having trial on Monday. I'm fingers crossed they don't, because
They said yesterday that they won't.
Did they? Okay, I missed that.
You missed a lot of things, I believe.
Well, okay. So let me also say too that I wasn't supposed to be on stream yesterday at all, and so it was just supposed to be the Baker show, but I had nothing else to do since I was stranded without a car because of Brighton Ford. Brighton Ford, you're still screwing me, and so I ended up jumping in on stream. Do I remember? I don't think I called the court. Oh,
you called the court in the Letitia Stout case, and then they called you back, and you forgot to answer.
I did. I remember that now. I did, but I didn't talk to anybody, so we're cool. I did call the court in Letitia's.
What did your mom say?
My mom.
Yeah, she was in chat for a long while.
She just said hi and behave. I didn't talk to her at all yesterday after that. So she's probably in chat now. Hi. She always watches. Good morning. Yeah, so we're just waiting for court to start today. You guys can see what it looks like right now. We're just hanging out, waiting a bit. Let's see, drunk to the Vatican. I don't mind calling people, and that's probably the problem. I don't mind calling them when I'm sober. So I blame Brandon though. Brandon and Dirk. And Dirk, I don't think is with us right now. Just Jen. I'm feeling good. Today. I got some sleep, so that's good. And then got up early this morning. I've been going for like 4 hours now, just working away on stuff because I am streaming. Actually, I'm streaming this, and then at noon Eastern, I'm over on Laid Back News with Eric Hunley, and then at 2:30, I'm back here on this trial again, and then at 8 p.m. we have Zachariah Anderson. So this stream is probably going to end about 7-ish Eastern, and then at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing the stream with Jeff from Legal Voices, Chandler Remington, Solomon Anderson, and myself at 8 p.m. So I was trying to get as much work as I could out of the way before the streams started today. So that's my day. Baker, what about you?
Well, I'm just hanging out here, and I'll probably take an easy day. I don't know if I'm be coming back tonight because it was a long day yesterday, and there's this strange thing: you Americans live in the future, in the past, so it ruins my sleep schedule. So I only had 5 hours of sleep, but so far we'll keep going, and as long as the chat is buzzing and court is not as boring as yesterday, I'll probably stick around. But hopefully I can get some dinner today and stuff like that. You Americans should really go by Danish time.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't that be easier if we were all just on one time? That's what I think we should. It's interesting. So, do you remember how many people did I grant wrenches to? How many people are wrenches?
I think you just added one, maybe.
Who got a wrench yesterday?
Oh wait, maybe two. Did you give Tweety a wrench and Dirk a wrench? I know you gave.
I did, yeah, Tweety and Dirk. Yeah, Dirk because she was a mod for Uncivil, and it didn't go well, so I was giving her a second chance here. I remember that. And then Tweety, I think, also like connived her way into a wrench. The behavioral panels. Okay, so Chung sent me a message and says, "Hey, you should review the behavioral panelists." They did a review of Letitia Stout, and I said, "Oh, okay, cool." Apparently now I'm doing it because Jung says so. At some point, we'll watch that. We'll review it. Those guys are entertaining. It's it's not accurate by any means, but it'll be fun to watch because she is all kinds of crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Letitia?
Okay.
No.
No. We don't need to bring Brandon over here. We're cool. We're cool today. David, I'm sorry. What were you going to say, Baker?
I was asking if it was Letitia's behavior panel, or whose behavior panel was it you're going to watch?
The behavioral panel, they do like they assess people's body language and behavior.
Oh, a YouTube channel. Okay, I believe.
Yeah.
I thought that it was something they did in court. So I thought,
No. They were just reviewing Letitia Stout. And if you guys are new here, we covered that trial every day of it, and she is crazy. So we it'd be fun to kind of review that. And actually, in my Rumble, we watched the documentary of the Dr. Lewis, who was Letitia's expert witness, trying to claim that she had multiple personalities, essentially. And if you watch the documentary, Dr. Lewis doesn't appear to be all the best, and she definitely presented that way during the trial. It was kind of a mess. So I kind of want the behavioral analysis panel to review Dr. Lewis as opposed to Letitia. You are not late, Flux. We were waiting for court to get going. Right now, we're just staring at a seal on the wall. County of Webb, state of Texas. So we are just waiting for that to get going.
And can I just say thank you for all the new subscriptions I got. This week has been amazing for my channel. I went from, I believe, 198 Wednesday till almost 250. I only need 4 more for 250.
Can we get 4 more subs to Baker? If you guys are watching this right now, we're dual streaming. You can go straight over to Baker's stream right now. And if someone can put a link in the chat, you won't miss anything. You can go sub over there for Baker. We're trying to get him monetized. So I'll put it in the chat. Hang on. There. I'm going to put it in the chat. You can go straight over there and sub to him and then come on back. We'll see if we can get you up to 250 by the end of the stream. Valhalla, you missed it yesterday, man. About to be driving again, but I'm here. Welcome, Valhalla. Yeah, so go give Baker a sub and a thumbs up while you're over there. And you can also give me a thumbs up too. Let's see. Keep a close eye on the one you mentioned then. Wait, what?
That's the worst part with dual streams. You have to try to catch what they're talking about in each stream because
yeah,
some of it gets lost. Maybe I should just.
What did you miss yesterday, Valhalla? You missed Jamie got really, really wasted on stream, and it was bad.
So drunk.
One on stream might have promised to strip on Discord, and it might have been Jamie, or it might not have been Jamie.
Yeah.
But were promises made?
I don't believe I was confident enough to enter into a consensual contract for that. So yeah, it was quite an interesting afternoon stream. Yeah, Brandon. But Dirk too. So I'm not going to put it all on Brandon. Dirk was in here, and it was extremely boring testimony, and it started with Dirk, and then Brandon just sort of took advantage of the situation. So I'm not putting it all on him.
And again, I was just I'm not monetized, so I was just picking up the slack for you because those 2 beers and 3 vodka shots, It was kind of embarrassing when you're married to a Swede.
I don't drink. I don't drink. Like literally, like when I'm done with streaming, I'll go sit on the back porch. I'll have my Michelob Ultra. I'll drink half of it, and then I set it down, and then my wife will find it later and finish it for me. That's how I drink. Flux. My mom's always, well, she's not always in the chat. She's always watching, and she does pop in the chat every once in a while, especially when people call her out. But I don't know if she's watching right now.
Hi, Miss Helms.
Yes. Jamie's shirt. Which Jamie's shirt? Summer 1980.
No, what? Who?
Your shirt.
Your shirt.
Oh my God, Jamie, are you paying attention to the stream at all?
No, I'm reading some text messages.
Look at that. See, you even got a call out in the chat, and you're just ignoring them.
All the way from Denmark.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get both of you guys pulled up.
We have to. Dave, could you pronounce my friend's name? The one who just said hi to Jamie.
The one that said hi to Jamie.
Wait,
All right, let me find it.
Just to keep us going.
Soren Rasputin. No, Rasmussen.
Søren Rasmussen. That's close.
Okay. All right. I'm learning. I do try to pronounce people's names. It's not like I intentionally. At some point, though, I read a name and I'm just like, no, I'm giving up. I'm absolutely not reading that name, and I am going to just make up something for them.
Was he right? How do you say it?
Søren Rasmussen.
What's the first name though?
Søren.
Don? I said
Søren.
Soren. So
yeah, it's because you want to. You have to remember put a couple of potatoes into your mouth and then talk in the back of your throat.
You do well. So I was told that Swedes don't talk in the back of their throat. They talk more in like the bottom of their mouth or something. But I pronounce everything wrong when I'm speaking Swedish anyway, so I don't even bother anymore. I'm not grumpy. I'm just tired. Davis hungover. Yeah, Karen drunk. Thank you, Karen. Yes.
White girl Karen.
Okay, can I just say, in my defense, you all enjoyed it, right?
It was very much funny.
Nobody's complaining.
Because you're
teasing
not
me.
like sloppy and like annoying and like, you know what I mean? Like you're just goofy. That's the best kind of drunk to be. Goofy drunk.
I'm not really sure all what happened yesterday during the stream. I do know that Farrell clipped some of it and posted it on her channel, so that's fun. Thank you. I didn't watch it though. And thankfully, the only thing that was clipped by Law Nerds, Law Nerd Clips, Law Clips, yeah, was the Scott Peterson verdict. So that was the only thing that I saw that was clipped. So that's good. Oh yeah, I saw that, Flux. Yeah. Okay, and so I was sleeping, and then all of a sudden I hear Flux.
Thank you so much for the 10 people who subbed to me after David called you out. So 200.
Nice.
Now it's all the way to 275. We have to go for 275.
275 by the end of the stream. That's the number. We're going to keep a running tally, I think.
It's something to do while Texas wakes up.
Yeah, what's going on? This court is always so late. So it's 9:10 there. I assume they would be going by now. It's 9:10 in this court right now, but it is what it is. But yes, Flux, I heard you call me out about the name thing as I was drifting off. We did love it, but we also love giving you oh no, you guys can give me shit all the time.
Yeah, and I would say for the way you handle yourself, it's better than the people who get annoying drunk. We've seen some streamers when they get drunk, they just get combative. You were just trying to keep it together with your I'm fine.
I was so like,
why it was so funny to me.
And then there was something like the witness would say, and did I make sense when I was doing like my legal analysis of the witness and what they were saying and why I thought it was important, or was it just gibberish?
No, it was fine. It was the quality of the show didn't it wasn't impeded by our drinking.
Okay, good.
And
good.
maybe it's because we have such a low quality on normal stream, or you're just a professional.
Yeah, right. So that's the real question, right? Is our quality so bad that if we have a few drinks, it doesn't diminish any?
No, I think
or
you
are
have
we
the
just that
perfect
good?
amount of drinks.
Yeah,
They
we
like
were happy drunks.
that.
I was, and then I had to go. Yeah, and then I had to go cook dinner for my wife, and I disappeared apparently for the rest of the stream. So, Jung apparently had knots in her stomach the entire time. That just means you care, Jung. I appreciate it.
She's looking out for you all the time.
You know, I don't watch my normal streams. I'm not watching that one. I feel like I'm part of the family here. I'm glad.
That's the feeling we try to give you.
That's right.
That's why we're doing all these dual streams and talking in a friendly manner. It's because this is a friendly chat. That's why I started following David's, because it's a nice chat. It's a fun chat, and only a few of the people in chat are degenerates. But Salvador know he is, so it's okay.
Call him out by name.
Just yeah.
So Flux, am I on your show next Thursday? And should I bring the drinks, or are we doing a normal stream?
Yes, Fox, get Dave drunk, please.
It's only streamed
Only
sober
allowed
twice.
like 3 beers and a couple shots though. Because that was the best. That was the best balance.
The best balance, like 3 beers and a couple of shots.
Yeah. I think you were good.
I was well, because of Dirk, I was sipping the vodka a bit before the beers. Because she was, what were we doing? Oh, we were doing likes, right? We were doing likes, and for both myself and Baker's stream. That's what we were doing. That is lovely sentiment. I'm glad you guys are here as well. And then I have to remember, like, I have real family and friends in the world, and so, but my family's cool with all this, I think. Good morning, C. Welcome.
Good morning. And I'm glad to see Mo in the chat, because she had a little scare yesterday. She had no internet for her youngest kid. So I was asking if the house turned into Lord of the Flies, but she said it was okay.
When the internet goes down, all the kids come downstairs. Like, where's the internet? Where's the internet? What's wrong with the internet? My phone's not working. My TV's not working. Oh, Nicholas.
Well, I live in an area that if you don't have Wi-Fi, I literally don't get cell phone service. I have to have Wi-Fi for my cell phone to work. So I'm like, that is the worst ever. It's happened a couple times. I have to like drive down the road to make a phone call.
I don't understand that, where you guys need Wi-Fi in order to make a phone call.
You're telling me it's 2023. I don't understand how I don't have cell phone service out here. No company can.
No, but how does Wi-Fi help your cell phone coverage?
Because you can use it to call with the new phones.
Wi-Fi calling and stuff. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
I mean, it's like, okay, so I shouldn't have to be connected to the internet to make my cell phone work, right? I should be able to connect to cell towers and be good. And why does connecting to the internet help you with your cell phone tower communication?
I don't know. Even if I have bars, sending a text message is a pain in the ass. I need like Wi-Fi.
What's wrong, Flux? What are you trying to get to work? Let's see here. I will. Oh, it's only fair if okay. All right. Yeah. But we're going to be talking about an extremely serious topic on Flux's stream on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Extremely serious. Jamie?
What?
You might want to tune in for that.
What is it?
Star Wars.
All right.
Star Wars.
I
think. I don't know. Flux, I think you confirmed it that we're talking about Star Wars, right? I have, so to me, Star Wars is like pizza, right? Even if it's bad, it's still pizza.
Yes, Flux. It's super dumb. I don't know why. Like, it's the worst thing ever.
Yes.
I don't get it.
Star Wars. I'm going to wear my helmet. I'm going to have my lightsaber.
Better invite Mo for that.
Star Wars without me. It's Flux's stream. It's Flux's show. She invited me on. I said, "Oh, cool. I'll come on. Can we talk about Star Wars?"
It's the morning show, so I won't say what I compared to pizza the last time.
I know. That's what I wasn't going any further than pizza. Let's see.
So how were your burgers?
Oh, let me cover up.
Did you cook them like hockey
they
pucks?
turned out the absolute best hamburgers I've ever made.
Oh, ever?
Ever. The best hamburger. But again, that's my that's how I took it to be when I ate them yesterday.
Well,
I
when
don't
you're
know what
drinking,
my wife
the
thought. Or,
best thing you've ever eaten in your life. I know that. You're like,
yeah,
"Oh,
right.
this is so good."
I know. I had 2 of them, and I was just So they turned out good.
I was just sad that the court went so long, so I couldn't go to McDonald's because it closes at 1 a.m. because I really wanted a milkshake. It would have been the best milkshake ever. But it's probably good I didn't go out and drive.
I did not drive at all the night. I was very much that guy in the front passenger seat with his wife driving, going to the movies. Again, I say I do it. I just always question the guy that's in the front passenger seat while his wife drives or his lady drives as to why is that man unable to drive himself. I knew the answer in my case.
Yeah. Now you see it, you'll be like, maybe he got drunk on a stream or something.
Pineapple pizza is disgusting.
So was the movie everything you hoped for?
Oh, I should do a little bit of a review since we're killing time apparently and nothing going on. I went and saw there, Indiana Jones. Oh, all right, wait, hang on. There we go.
Oh God.
So I went and saw. Wait, there it is. I got my little collector's cup. Look at how awesome that is. Wait, why did it reverse? Is that the cat? Oh my God, cat. Now the cat's messing up the new camera. Let's see. Can I do this? There we go. All right. It was very much like a classic Indiana Jones movie. I liked it a lot. And it made me think, a lot of people talk about the original 3 being really good and the 4th one kind of being really bad. But I don't think the 4th one was that bad. I think, and I think this 5th one actually it's a very much of a classic Indiana Jones movie. And I think it reaffirms, episode 4 as well. Brandon, yes, I'm alive. No thanks to you, sir. You sent me a Twitter DM. Oh God. What is it now?
What is it now?
Wait, what? Oh. All right, hang on a second. You guys kill time when I'm texting.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make my friend understand when he's a wrench on my channel, he should get me milkshakes instead of just saying he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, doesn't he live like walking distance?
Yeah, unfortunately, 2 good spits, I can hit him.
What are you doing? You should go get Baker a milkshake. He's streaming for you. Get him a milkshake.
Yeah, I rinsed him.
Yeah, okay. No, so I was just texting you because I didn't know if you want to talk about it. Yeah, all I did was I went into my settings and I remonetized my channel, my stream. And then apparently you could super chat again. But I'm not sure I want to today, sir. Let me check here real quick. Monetization is on. So I don't know what's up this time. Originally monetization was not turned on, so I turned it on and then all of a sudden you could super chat. So I don't know why it's not working today. But yeah, that's all I did. I didn't toggle anything. Let me check you specifically, sir. Let's see here. Yeah, no, there's nothing I could do in the settings other than what I've already done. So I don't know what's up. You just give too much money, I think. It's probably your bank card saying no more.
You didn't mute him like Jeff did one time when he was drunk and fell asleep. He muted people. He pocket muted people.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I have not pocket muted people, but I have done it live on stream just by. I'm trying to monitor the stream on my iPad so I can see when people gift memberships and things that I can't see in StreamYard. And I accidentally, who did I mute? All right. I gave a temporary ban to Murph's Turf. That's what I did.
But again, we have the main screen we're watching, and then a side screen where right now I have 4 windows open, so they get real small when we try to hit something. So it slips sometimes.
It does, especially on the iPad. It's not the most convenient, but it's the easiest way for me to watch the chat on YouTube as opposed to StreamYard. Let's see. So yes, drunk me apparently turns off monetization. That's how that works. But it's on now, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Brandon. Yeah, I don't know exactly what I did that worked for you. I have no idea. If I knew, I would do it again, but I don't. Let's see. You guys see DUI guy Larry hanging out with Johnny Depp? No, I did not. I know he was there following the concert. Did he get like a little pose for a photo, or is he like hanging out? Because that would be something. That would be amazing. He was like, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing all those memes of you in the background during that famous incident," and then like invited him to hang. That would be awesome. He got a hug from. I hope Depp knows him. I hope he recognized him from the trial, from being in the audience, from making that face. That would be so cool for him. I would like it too. Maybe Johnny. You got to tell him about. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Judge,
Oh, here we are.
It's just I think, really an administrative matter. It was brought to my attention that the suppression hearing.
That what, sir?
The suppression hearing that we held last year in 2022, there was, as we understand from looking at the record, the state properly filed their proposed findings of fact that there wasn't a formal adoption by the court. So in order to preserve Mr. Burgos-Aviles' rights, we're asking that the court formally make its findings of fact.
I don't remember. Do you have a copy of it?
The state graciously printed a copy of their original proposed findings of fact this morning. It was given by Ms. John.
That is correct.
I thought I had already signed off on that.
I had a memory of it being adopted orally by the court, but we can't find it in the record, and in abundance of caution.
You always have to follow up
Very
with
good.
your orders. Yeah. Let's
The
go.
state
I
couldn't
can't
find
do
it in the
anything.
record either, Judge.
Assuming that for a moment
up?
that I I've signed these already, because I'm going to check my records. But I'm pretty sure I would have signed it without it saying states proposed.
Yes.
So can you just have somebody send it to both counsel for the defendant and me, either on a Word format or whatever you use? Is it Word or WordPerfect? Word. So that I can take out state proposed and whatever else I think that needs to be taken out.
Okay.
Can you do that today? Have somebody do that today for you?
I'm going through the settings right now.
You can just send it like that, and then I'll edit this. I'll edit. Just send it in Word. Don't send it in PDF format. Send it in Word, basically. What I'm saying.
Thank you.
I'll look for the one that I thought I had signed, and if it's, I'll read it again. I'm pretty sure I had already done that. They're going to send it to me in Word format so that I can edit whatever I need to edit, whatever I don't, because I'm sure that's what I did last time. So we'll take it from there.
Thank you, sir.
But I'll get it. Thank you.
Okay, apparently the court entered an order,
The red jury's coming.
but it's not part of the register of action, so they need to re-enter
Yes,
it
sir.
again. Happens all the time.
Please rise for the jury.
I'm hoping we have a fairly interesting discussion today, or witnesses today.
Yeah.
And it should be closing today for the state.
I would really imagine so. They said it was going to take a week to maybe a week and a half. It's been a week now, and so we should be closing today with the defense thing starting apparently on Wednesday.
Thank you, everyone. Please have a seat. Good morning, members.
They said they're
of
not
the
doing court on
jury.
Monday, right? You said
Monday, Tuesday, I
We
believe.
will get started.
Tuesday is 4th of July.
We left off with
thank you, Wendy, for the
Mrs.
super chat.
Camilla on the witness stand. And Mr. Peña, you were about to cross. Do you have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor,
All right.
please.
You may begin when ready.
Okay, I don't remember
morning,
what
Mrs.
number
Camilla.
witness this is.
Good morning, sir.
Mrs. Camilla, yesterday you testified that Mr. Burgos made a call, a radio call to dispatch at around 11:18 a.m. on the morning of April 9, 2018, and reported that she needed, that there was a woman that was in need of immediate medical assistance, correct?
I testified, yes.
And prior to that call, there had been no reports of illegal activity having been observed or reported by any Border Patrol agent in that area, correct?
Are you talking about the radioactivity that was obtained, or are you talking about any other source that recorded that vehicle in that area before?
No, I'm asking whether any agent, including Mr. Burgos, had reported any illegal activity in the area that Mr. Burgos was assigned to that morning.
Aside from the call that came in of him requesting assistance, is that your question?
Right.
I believe there was regular traffic, regular radio traffic as far as detections of possible activity that Border Patrol agents needed to respond to, if I remember correctly.
In the area that Mr. Burgos was working?
I want
Yes.
to come back to this. I'll start it. And then I'll have Baker give you a
That
recap.
morning of April 9, 2018, Mr. Burgos was assigned to an area from the World Trade Bridge to Father Magnabeau Park, correct?
So that was one of his areas of responsibility, to include from Fletcher Lane all the way to north of 255, since he was a supervisor for deployments.
And the area where Griselda Hernandez's body was found is included within that area that you described, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And as part of your investigation, you searched Mr. Burgos's desk at the Border Patrol North Station, and you were looking for evidence, correct, of the crime?
So there was two searches conducted in Mr. Burgos' shared workspace. Like I've mentioned, one of them was done the day of April the 9th in the evening. And that was done by Laredo Police Department, accompanied by one of our agents from my office. I was at the headquarters station. The second search was actually done by admin, the Laredo North managers, that they were trying to clear that office because, again, it's a shared office. And when they were doing so, that's when they came across the documents that I testified to yesterday.
The child support document?
That is correct.
And other than the child support documents, there was no evidence recovered from Mr. Burgos's office?
So he did
Not
know
that I
about
recall,
the child
no.
support petition. Someone had that question. I remember
No,
yesterday.
They found it in
Border
his
Patrol
locker.
Here in Laredo,
It was filed
Mr. Burgos
about a
was
month
simply
before.
known as Ronald Burgos, correct?
I am not sure, to be honest, how he was known by his fellow agents or supervisors. All I know him was obviously, or the first time I learned of him was the day of the call.
You looked at some of Mr. Burgos' employment records, correct?
Yes, I did, sir.
And those records contain the name simply Ronald Burgos, correct?
I have not, I'm not mistaken if it has his initial or not. I would need to see the actual employment records that were provided.
Okay. And you also searched Mr. Burgos' computer that he used in his office at the Border Patrol Station, but the search did not reveal any evidence of the murders in his web browser, correct?
That is correct.
Hey, Warrior. Ooh, no web browser
Mr.
information.
Burgos was hired as a Border Patrol agent in 2009, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And he was promoted to supervisor in 2012?
No,
correct?
he was promoted to supervisor July of 2017.
Oh, 27.
Yes, sir.
Over the other two Border Patrol agents'
Now,
heads
you
who
learned
had
as
been
part
there
of your
longer.
investigation that Border Patrol agent Francisco Lara placed a bloody glove in the bed of the kilo unit that was assigned to Ronald Burgos, correct?
Yes.
I'll pass the word, Mr. Ronald.
Just a few questions, Sean. As I said yesterday, when we were discussing state's exhibit,
Turn the mic over to you, that big mic.
on state's exhibit 514.5, which was the radio activity for the handheld radio,
Yes.
are you able to see document 514.5 exhibit?
Yes, I can.
And when asked, how is it that we knew that this handheld radio belonged to Mr. Burgos?
So this report again was requested for any activity that came from his handheld. And aside from the subscriber ID, the 5154867, the report also documented his star number, which is the N68. The subscriber alias was recorded that was the radio assigned to Mr. Burgos at the time.
I'm now showing you states 472. And if you can find.
Baker,
the
did you
star
answer
number or
John's
the,
question?
Alias,
I want to make sure everyone's aware of this. So the bloody gloves. So the first Border Patrol agent to arrive at the body with, or at pretty much at the same time with the defendant, touched the body with gloves, didn't know where to put them, laid him down next to the body at first. Then when the police showed up, told him he couldn't leave those gloves there. They asked about it. And then he put them in the back of the defendant's vehicle. And that's why they initially became suspicious of the defendant, is because of those bloody gloves in the back of the vehicle. Am I right, Baker? Pretty much?
Yeah. And yesterday, this witness told about the training he had in preserving a crime scene. And those two Border Patrol victims said, well, we don't ever have to do with anything like this. So we have no training in it. And that was why he just dropped his gloves at the victim and then picked them up and threw them in the truck, which pointed the finger at the defendant.
Yeah. After the first Border Patrol agent testified, I think day 3, I was like, oh, this guy's guilty. And then the second Border Patrol agent testified, and I was like, oh, I don't know. These guys are a little shady. There's something up with their testimony. But yeah, especially with the first one testifying that he dropped the gloves in the back of the car, and that's what led to the finger pointing at this defendant.
Yeah, and it seemed to go real fast downhill from there. Then everybody knew it was him.
Yeah, everybody knew it was him. And then the two Border Patrol agents changed their initial statements after they knew it was him. Yeah, it was really bad.
Mr. Ronald Burgos.
Yes, so the star number is noted on the report next to his name.
Thank you. And then will you also
Excellent.
please
Welcome.
read out
Welcome
the
to
name
Discord.
as it is listed here in States Exhibit 472.
If you can just zoom in, it's a little bit blurry. I don't know if it's the light. Okay, it's Ronald or Burgos, last name and then first name
Yeah,
Ronald.
pretty much. Accidentally framed a guilty
Is
man.
there a, next to the
I love when it happens.
parentheses, is there, outside the parentheses, is there a letter or anything?
Yes, there's an A initial.
Thank you. No further questions, Ron.
Oh, wait, I screwed up the banner. That was redirect, but okay.
Thank you.
Do we know what number witness this is?
Thank you, sir.
I've lost count.
I did too, because I wasn't keeping count yesterday. That's okay. We'll just say it's direct on another state's witness.
Well, I'm blunt, so it's more than 3.
Last one I have
Your next
was
witness.
16.
Your Honor, state calls Nicole Morales to the stand.
Who's there?
Nicole Morales.
Nicole Moran.
Nicole. All right, so I'm going to pull this.
Please be sworn in.
I have a list of all the witnesses, so I'm going to do that. Thanks to Murph's Turf, I have all of the witnesses. I thought they'd be resting. All right, what was the name of this person? Nicole
I didn't catch.
Morales,
Ms.
forensic
Morales?
scientist.
Good morning. Please come forward. Good morning. Could you state your full name?
Nicole Morales.
Ms. Morales,
So,
please raise your right hand.
We're going to
and be
get some
sworn.
DNA evidence now, finally.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat right over here.
Snivels 44 is just looking on. Welcome. By the way, if you guys are new to the channel, I see
May I
there's a lot,
proceed, Your Honor?
You
lot
may.
of us in
For the
here.
record, ADA Jesus Vigil, conducting the examination on behalf of the state. Good morning, Ms. Morales.
Real quick, go over. Baker is streaming this live. I'm going to put his link in the chat. Go over there. You won't miss anything. Give him a little subscribe and a thumbs up. That would be great.
Good morning.
How's your drive down?
Fine, thank you.
It's good to hear. Shall we get to it?
Yes.
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Nicole Morales, Morales.
And what's your occupation?
I'm a forensic scientist at the Bexar County Crime Lab in San Antonio,
And where are you currently employed?
at the Bexar County Crime Lab.
Okay. And how long have you been employed there?
10 years.
And what are your duties?
I'm a forensic DNA analyst, so I screen evidence that comes in from law enforcement, and then I provide DNA comparisons to profiles.
And would you be able to tell us what educational background and professional training you have that qualifies you as an expert in forensics?
Yes, I received my bachelor's degree in biochemistry from the University of Nevada in Reno, and I have my master's degree in forensic science from Sam Houston State University.
And this laboratory, is it accredited?
Yes,
Is the accrediting organization recognized by the Texas Forensic Science Commission?
yes.
What does accreditation mean?
It's a set of standards that you have to meet that is comparable between all the laboratories that meet those accrediting standards. So there's certain proficiency testing that has to be done every year. There's certain training that analysts have to go through every year. And it's just a set of standards to show that you meet these requirements.
And are you licensed as a forensic analyst by the Texas Forensic Science Commission?
Yes.
Have you received any additional training in the area of DNA analysis?
When I joined the laboratory, I received training in both forensic serology and forensic DNA, and there's continuing education every year.
And have you testified in court before as an expert witness in the area of DNA comparison?
Yes,
More or less.
No, I don't know,
many
John.
occasions?
many occasions.
I think he's incarcerated.
Throughout the state of Texas?
Yeah, he's
Typically
brought in by
Laredo,
law enforcement every morning.
Colleen one time, and then
He's what? I'm sorry.
Brought in by law enforcement every morning, so he's
So he
probably
would be
incarcerated.
mostly Bexar County.
Pretty sure the jury knows, but would you tell the jury what DNA is?
Sure. So DNA, I describe it as the genetic blueprint of what makes you unique. So if you think about a blueprint of a house, you have a set, walls, doors, rooms, how they're set up. So DNA is the genetic blueprint of what makes you unique. You get half your DNA from your mom and half your DNA from your dad. And each person has a unique genetic profile unless you have an identical twin.
Okay, and Could you generally explain what happens with evidence when the lab receives it for testing?
Sure. So law enforcement will bring in the evidence. It gets stored in our evidence receiving section. It's a vault that's accessible to analysts and evidence receiving staff. At that point, someone will pull that evidence for analysis, and then we pick it up from evidence receiving. We perform any necessary testing. We keep any items stored in our section for DNA testing, and then the bulk evidence goes back to evidence receiving and then subsequently goes back to the law enforcement agency.
Okay, and now in this case, were you provided with evidence to conduct a forensic analysis?
Yes.
How did you receive that evidence?
I picked it up from evidence receiving, and it was submitted by Laredo Police Department.
And once you finished conducting your analysis, what happened to the evidence?
The evidence, once I retained whatever cuttings, swab tips, etc., from the evidence that I wanted to keep, the bulk evidence was submitted back to evidence receiving, which submitted it back to Laredo PD, and then I had just samples of the bulk evidence in my custody.
Okay. And did you prepare a report?
Yes,
Several reports?
6 reports. Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
She seems dutiful. I would agree. Nicholas,
And for the
welcome.
record, Your Honor.
Morning, Nicholas.
Hey.
Afternoon.
Hey.
State's Exhibit
Afternoon.
518,
Hi, Jamie.
519.
Hi.
You know, Nicholas, I haven't gotten your take on this case yet. So, what are your thoughts thus far?
There are some holes I would like answers to, but I'm leaning. But you have these 2 bodyguards who apparently got their stories half synchronized, except that they forgot to tell everybody that they actually saw each other.
No, that was the greatest thing. They had like all this stuff synchronized, like to the phrasing, and forgot that each other were there.
Yeah, but all in all, the prosecution has quite a decent case so far.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And like I said yesterday, I tried to explain, and I don't remember at what stage yesterday I tried to explain this, but I have like in my mind a scale of justice. And as testimony is presented, I'm putting stuff on either side and moving it back and forth, and it's always fluctuating. But remember, at the end of the day, this is the state's case in chief. You should walk away when they're done thinking he's guilty, right? And then the defense gets a chance to go, and they should slowly start chipping away. So you should be feeling guilty right now.
Yeah.
In theory.
I start out with a lot of questions as soon as the first witness hits the stand. And then at the end of the case in chief, if the only questions I have left are those that are quite unreasonable, then you have beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
If I have too many questions left at the state's case in chief, then it's a bit of a good luck for me to reach a guilty verdict. I am close to having only bad questions left.
Yes, circumstantial evidence is enough. So this is the way I explain circumstantial evidence. This is the way a lot of courts do it. So let me explain this. When everyone says it's only circumstantial, right? All right. You look out the window and you see water falling from the sky. That's direct evidence that it's raining. But you're in a room with no windows and someone comes in wearing a raincoat and carrying an umbrella and they're covered in water. That's circumstantial evidence that it's raining outside. And that is enough to convict somebody because it makes logical sense, right? If you think about it like that, that it's raining outside. So you don't need the direct evidence in that case. So even though it's circumstantial, that is absolutely enough.
But if the circumstantial is that you walk outside and half your grass is wet and the other half is not, you have either a cloud dumped water exactly there, or I got my sprinklers on.
Yeah.
And if the sprinklers
well, that's the thing. So is it possible that he just walked through a sprinkler on the way to the door? Sure. That's possible, right? But
why? How would he know that, and why would he put on a full suit for that?
Exactly. That's how you work.
But if the prosecution brings forward half of this grass was wet, therefore it rained exactly there, he had bad luck sort of thing, the Gravely theory about Zachariah Anderson.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Could it be so bad luck that it rained only there or something of that sort? No, it wasn't bad luck because he had the sprinklers on.
but again, if we compare this to the Zachariah Anderson case,
Mm.
that case could be, maybe, should be, was doing all the heavy lifting. In this
Oh,
case,
yeah.
they are not saying you have to believe that this small speck we couldn't make a DNA finding on was blood, and therefore he murdered him at this exact hour when his phone wasn't on. You have them in the vicinity. You know they knew each other. There was this dispute about the child support, and we had the talks with the girlfriend, the female
Wendy.
friend and the sister. So so you have a lot of things adding up, and it's not that hard to lay the last brick on the wall. In the Zachariah Anderson case, you had to start with the foundation because they couldn't really prove anything other than he might have looked in through a window, even if it wasn't possible to look through the window according to the Google map, or the daughter seeing him looking through the window. So in this case, it's a way different circumstantial evidence than it was in the Zachariah Anderson case.
I gotta rearrange us here because I can't see Nicholas. There we go. I'd rather us be smaller and be viewable. So Wendy says, but if it's raining on my leg, ? That I guess would be direct evidence, right, Wendy? But thank you very much for the $9.99 super chant. And Jung wants us all to go into my Discord to Lefties Expo and to vote in a poll she posted last night. Thank you very much. We will do that, Jung. Thank you for the $4.99. But yeah, so let's see where this witness goes. This is, I think, where we're going to finally get into the DNA.
If you can pull up John Gary, his.
I would say in this case, a very unlikely explanation of circumstantial evidence. It is up to the defense to sell it and hopefully bring some evidence. Is a very unlikely explanation of circumstantial evidence.
Like the Zachariah Anderson case, yes, they could poke a lot of holes in the circumstantial evidence. In this case, they haven't really been able to do it because there's a lot of
with the
pictures showing
analogy.
him.
They haven't explained why the person is wearing the raincoat if it's just a sprinkler, right? You know, that kind of, they haven't done that. I agree with John. Not that the burden is on the defense. They just kind of need to explain some stuff, right, Baker? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, and again, let's be frank about this. We have a guy and an 18-month-old baby not here anymore. The jury has that knowledge. It's a different scale you have to crawl in a room. And I know it's not fair. I know the law should be equal for everyone. But as the state proved, you can throw a dead baby in front of the jury and they do it. That was why they put the Baby Yoda thing, because they knew the scale tipping point changed dramatically when you have a small dead child. And that's the way of human nature. And that's why I said he's gonna fry when they did the officer crying at his Baby Yoda shirt.
Yes,
and it's not fair, I know, but that's human nature.
Yep. All right, we'll keep going. Yeah, there's a lot of questions I have in this case. And to Mad's comment, when the balancing of the scales, it's still not preponderance standard for me. It's just the way I envision everything. So still got to be way down on the state side for me to win.
And he's right. They haven't proven all the problems, but opening statements are often not as reliable as how the trial's going to go.
Right.
Yeah, opening statement could have been a form of planting the idea in the jury's head, and then during the presentation of the actual evidence, either the jury remember it clearly and says, "Hey, when did they travel together?" or misremember. afterwards saying, yeah, there was something about phones traveling together, like the Murdoch trial.
Flux says she loves Baker, such a realist. It's true. Dead babies get convictions. I agree.
Yeah.
And that's why they keep calling the toddler a baby. It's a
Yeah.
dead baby. And the way they went into the description of the baby's death, I'm not going to repeat it. It was horrible. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
523 and 524. Do you recognize these documents?
Yes.
Okay. And was this report done in the normal course of business of the Bear County Criminal Crime Lab?
Yes.
And was it done here at the time you conducted your analysis?
Yes.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'm going to show the defense for any objections, and I move to admit into evidence States Exhibit 518 through 524, and I request to publish States Exhibit 518.
Is that Zechariah Anderson, Jung, that you posted? You might have had more luck with the bench trial, although I don't know.
I don't know. I think what determined that trial was they didn't get it out of the county.
Yeah.
That motion should have been approved, especially after Judge Schroeder injured himself. Then he lost his right to a speedy trial.
And John, the state has a bad way of doing the same thing in closing arguments. They'll say things that weren't necessarily in evidence, and if this defense doesn't object, say that he's saying things that are not in evidence, then it goes right through.
It'd be admitted without objection. Thank you.
And may I request to publish 518, Your Honor?
Sure, Cody.
That's kind of what my thought is, Brandon. I don't know if he would have been better off in the bench trial. I don't know the county or the judge or anything, so I'd be speculating. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
And again, we have an 18-month-old. Even a judge, even though they used to be lawyers, they have feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
May I approach the witness again, Your Honor?
Excuse me?
May I approach the witness
Yes,
again?
of course. Approach liberally, please.
I'd hammer her.
I'm going to show
Oh,
you.
sorry, did I say that out loud?
What's remarked as
It's Friday.
It is Friday.
States Exhibit
And it's
27.
I had my
Almost.
fun stream yesterday, though. I got it out of the way.
Yeah, I'm having my finally Friday casual stream later
States Exhibit 8.
at around midnight
Exhibit
my
4.
time, which is 6 p.m.
States
your
Exhibit
time. But this
17.
is Texas,
States
So it might
Exhibit
be
18.
unless they send people home
and
earlier
States
on a
Exhibit
Friday.
35.
And it's a holiday weekend, too. They might.
Yeah.
I really hope this court doesn't go until 6 p.m. their time.
Oh.
I hope they get to like 4:30 and are like, all right, we're going to call it.
Well, he talked about not going late on a Friday yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you recognize them?
Yes.
How do you recognize them?
Each of these packages has the unique CIL, which is the Criminal Investigation Laboratory case number on it, as well as my initials and the date and the exhibit number.
It's
that
not
each item
F-It
is.
Friday. That's Jeff's stream. That is next week, I think. His birthday.
What date do they have on them?
Yeah, the 7th of
So
7th.
some of them have 12919, one of them has 13019, one of them has 724 of 2018, 725 of 2018, and 718 2018.
Okay. And are these the items that you received and analyzed?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, we move to admit these respective exhibits into evidence.
To Brandon, it is. That's right.
Yeah. And Lincoln Kane, always F-It Friday.
Mo, I have a generator just to keep the Wi-Fi going. And the other thing too is like we're out in the middle of nowhere. We have a well, and so if you don't have electricity, you don't have water. And so I have a generator that powers like the whole house. Everything except for a couple of things are gas, and it just everything runs.
Wicked asked about a juror not being present today. There was a jury number 1 who had some emergency in the family or some surgery of a family member. So I think they was let out
Yeah.
Wednesday. I believe.
Jury one,
Any
yeah, juror
objections?
one had a family member was.
They'll be admitted.
The judge was like really reluctant to release this person. He's like, but he claims he can't focus on the trial with this family member's surgery, so we'll let him go.
Are you familiar with
Yes,
the
it
case
is
at hand?
death penalty.
Yes.
Yep, it is a death penalty case.
Now, I know you said you were given some samples to analyze. You actually did an analysis on these samples.
Yes.
What analysis did you utilize?
So typically in homicide cases, the typical analysis is looking for blood evidence or touch DNA. So if it's blood evidence, I would do a screening test, which is basically a presumptive chemical test for the possible presence of blood. That's basically a color reaction test. So if it tests positive, it would turn the sample pink, and then I would retain it for possible DNA analysis. So that's typically the presumptive test that I would do on homicide cases, unless there was something else specifically asked for. Let's say there was an indication of a sexual assault or something like that, then there would be additional testing. Other items that might just be retained without any sort of presumptive testing might be something that was handled, like let's say a firearm or a steering wheel cover or something like that. So there's no presumptive test for that. It's just kept and DNA is performed on them.
The juror was
Would
not the
that
surgeon,
cover the
John.
methodology?
Yes.
Family member.
Let's move on then. So I guess after you did your analysis, what did you do after doing the analysis on the samples? What did you then do?
So anything that tested positive for the presumptive presence of blood, either a cutting or a tip, if they were swabs, I would keep just the tips of the swabs. Those would be retained in the laboratory. Any items that were sort of positive for touch DNA, like I said, no presumptive testing was done, but samples would be kept from those items. And then they would be retained within the laboratory, and the bulk evidence would have been sent back to Laredo.
Okay. So you looked at State's Exhibit 47, right? May I approach, Your Honor, just to place it?
You may.
Just to refer to it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just answer you. The judge does not decide death.
State's Exhibit.
That's the jury, and I believe it's this jury,
This is 47.
47.
not a separate jury that does
Where
it.
does that exhibit corresponds to where on your lab report?
It's Exhibit 1, so it's the first brown paper bag listed.
So would it be these items right here?
Correct.
Would you mind, I don't know if you can see or want to refer to the exhibit, what the items consist of?
So the description might be different between what's listed by law enforcement and what I described it as. So it depends on which one you want me to use.
Do you have a copy of your report?
Yes,
Would you like to refer to your report?
sure.
It's been evidence.
Okay, so in this container, which is Exhibit 1, the brown paper bag, there were 5 different sub-items in there. The first was a stroller handle foam. The second was a stroller canopy fabric. The third was another brown paper bag like this inside of this
they have his
bag, and
DNA
it
on the
had
stroller
5
handle?
items within it. So 1-3-1. So stroller headrest fabric, stroller seat belt buckle, dry grass, then another tape sealed manila envelope, which had 4 items in it. Swabs 8, 9, 10, 11, and then apparent hairs, and then stroller seat fabric and tire prints were all in Exhibit 1.
Just for context, for anyone who's joining us kind of late, the stroller was found sort of tossed into the bushes, and I believe the police found it. So ideally, I know Border Patrol, including the defendant, showed up at the scene first, and they handled some stuff like the body and things like that. But I don't think there was any testimony that anybody handled the stroller except for the police. When they got there, they found it. And Baker could correct me if I'm wrong. So defendant's DNA or something on the stroller would be kind of bad for him.
They said his
you
blood
conducted
should
it-
be on the strap of the stroller.
That would be bad.
analysis of these items, right?
Yes.
Would you mind telling us what your findings concluded as to these items? Or let me ask you specifically, in regards to the stroller handle foam, can you let us know what your findings were after your analysis?
Yes, that item tested
douche
positive for
fendant.
the presumptive presence of blood.
And can that be attributed to anybody?
Until DNA analysis, that would be when the comparison is made between that
Okay.
item. So that's on a separate report.
We'll
Later.
get to that. And so about in regards to the shoulder canopy fabric,
That also tested positive for the presumptive presence of blood.
about in regards to the stroller headrest fabric,
That also tested positive for the presumptive presence of blood.
and in regards to the stroller seat belt buckle,
That also tested positive for the presumptive presence of blood.
in regards to the rock,
The rock.
The rock was, swab 9.
I believe yes.
Swab 9. That
342.
yes, that also tested positive for the presumptive presence of blood.
Now, if I can have permission from the court to publish States Exhibit 519.
It's already admitted.
So can you tell
One
us
second,
what
sir.
forensic-
One second.
Yes.
I'm confirming whether it's been admitted or not.
Better late than
Now
never,
you can
right?
publish.
Welcome, welcome.
Can you?
Better to be late than early.
What the difference is between the first report
Is it?
that we looked at, States Exhibit 518 to States Exhibit 519?
So the first report was the serology report. That's where I was screening the items of evidence to keep what was
Very
probative or
excited.
what tested positive for any presumptive bodily fluids. The second report is the DNA report. So at that point, I'm taking those items that I retained, developing genetic profiles from them, and then comparing them to any known profiles I have from individuals.
And so your findings will be on the following pages, correct?
Correct.
So
This better be the
can you
last
tell us
witness.
now, the items that I mentioned, can you tell us then,
If they can
you mentioned.
put
that
his
you
blood on
found,
something,
Human DNA.
great way.
Yeah, if they put his DNA on the stroller and that blood and all that stuff, then we're done. They should not be calling any more witnesses.
On these items, correct?
So those items tested positive for the presumptive presence of blood. It's only a presumptive test, so I would develop a genetic profile and then compare it to any known profiles.
Okay, and then, I guess.
Or is
let
the
me show you
mother's
then-
blood that shows that he killed her in front of the baby, and then it doesn't matter if his DNA is
States
there or
Exhibit
not.
18, States Exhibit 17,
What do you mean as far as the baby?
and States
Yeah,
Exhibit.
if they can show her blood on the stroller,
Encroach on-
Yes,
that
sir.
would mean that he
So, can you
attacked
tell us
her
what
in
these
front
items
of the toddler.
Oh, yeah. But it's got to be his blood. His
So
DNA has got
States
to be
Exhibit
somewhere on that
17
stroller.
is my Exhibit 8-1. It's a known sample from
us, yes.
Dominic Hernandez.
For the jury, I don't think
And
so.
it would have been a bloodstain
The
card
jury,
from the
I
medical
believe the
examiner's
jury
office.
already places him
States
there.
Exhibit 8-States Exhibit 18, my Exhibit 8-2 is the known standard from Griselda Hernandez. That would have been a bloodstain card as well from the medical examiner's office. And States Exhibit 4 is my Exhibit 15-8. Those are buccal swabs. Let me double check.
What is that? Phone call?
I don't think this is the one, 15-8.
Oh, they brought the wrong evidence to her?
No.
Nice.
Okay, so let's proceed with these two for now.
Okay.
While I work on these.
Okay.
So
Run to the office.
you mentioned
Get
that
us
there
the
were,
right.
Isabel Dominic's bloodstain card.
Exactly.
Can you explain what the significance of that is in regards to your analysis?
Yes, they're used as known samples. So everything that is collected from the crime scene and submitted are all considered unknown samples. We don't know the source of the DNA on those items. When you take a known standard, you know who you're collecting it from. So if, for example, I came up to one of you and swabbed the inside of your cheek and then looked at your driver's license and said, this is a known standard from Joe Smith. So these are known standards taken during autopsy, likely, from Dominic Hernandez and Griselda Hernandez. And then the buccal swabs would be a known standard taken from the inside cheek of Ronald Burgos.
It makes her more credible, Dave, right?
And could you
Is that
use
what you're saying?
these DNA, these samples that you mentioned, can you use them to kind of
No,
so you can
I
use
like
these
this
to
witness a
compare
lot.
it to any other items that you analyze to see whether that genetic profile.
Can you pause it for a second?
Yep.
Correct. So
I'll just go into not speaking English mode, because Søren had a question. Søren, i USA der er det sådan, at først der er det staten, der fremlægger deres beviser. Bagefter så er det forsvaret, der skal fremlægge deres beviser. Det er ikke som i Danmark, hvor vi kører ved siden af hinanden og stiller spørgsmål, sådan, som vi gør. Først der er det staten, der præsenterer deres, og så er det forsvaret bagefter, der så skal præsentere deres beviser for at vise, at om han er skyldig eller ikke skyldig. It's just because he asked if the state rests and we go directly to verdict, and I just told him no, the state has to present the case and then the defense has to disprove their case.
Yeah, usually, I mean, in theory, the defense could say, we have no witnesses to call. Let's go into closing arguments, but that's not going to happen here. They've already presented several witnesses that they intend to call. So this is going to go on for another, at least another 3 days. This is going to finish up next week at some point, like maybe Friday. The jury will get this next week. That's what I'm thinking, because of the holiday as well.
And for
We use-
reference, that sounds more like the Swedish chef in the Muppet Show than the Swedish accent will.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Alok, fuck. Someone called 911. Baker's having a stroke.
He's not having a stroke. He's just Danish.
It's the same thing.
the term consistent with. So the known samples are compared to the unknown samples, and you can see if there's a match or not,
Oh,
basically.
yeah, isn't it like 999 or something over there?
I guess let's get back to your
112.
report. So in regards to the
112,
item,
awesome.
Wait, 112?
Yeah, and 114 if it's not urgent.
See, I don't even know that. I'd be calling 911 if I was in Sweden or Denmark and needed an emergency.
Yeah, because
Should be the same everywhere.
It's
Like time.
It's a shorter distance. 112. If you
Okay.
try to dial 911, you can slip up.
I see.
It's from
On
the
old
old
rotary
circular
phones.
rotary phones. 911 it takes too long. So
Yeah, but especially being, I think of a rotary phone in the UK with 999.
yeah, and if you try to call in secret with a rotary phone in the UK, yeah, somebody will notice.
so we mentioned in State Exhibit 47. Can you let us know what your
It's
findings
because
were?
it does, Tweety. It
Yes,
does.
so on the stroller handle foam, which is 1-1.1, the cutting from stroller canopy fabric 1-2.1, the swab tip from the stroller canopy fabric 1-2.2, the cutting from the stroller headrest fabric 1-3-1.1, and then did you want the rock was the other one, correct?
Yes,
swab
I
tip-
believe I mentioned the belt buckle and the rock.
This is the kind of
Swab
evidence
tip
that
9
wasn't
from the
shown
rock
in the Zechariah Anderson case.
1-4-2.1.
Yep.
The witness
Griselda
desperately tried to
Hernandez
avoid
cannot be
showing
excluded
actual
as a source of
evidence.
the human DNA on those items.
So, sorry, I wanted to get that real quick. Let me try my new Fandy. Yeah, look at that, 5 seconds back. Yeah, this, I agree, Nicholas. This is the kind of stuff that they should have had in the Zechariah Anderson. These types of reports would have been really nice. And then it doesn't
Yeah.
really call into question some of the issues.
9 from the rock
but again,
1-3-4-2.1.
Well, you always say, if you have the evidence, show the evidence.
Mhm.
If you don't really have the evidence, just talk about them.
Well,
This is
yeah,
very
that's-
good because they have something with these swaps.
Right. And that's why I think cases like Zechariah Anderson should be kicked from the bench and not even make it to trial, because if you don't have the evidence, you should be able to get it kicked.
Yeah.
You know, the judge should be, not afraid to dismiss cases. when the state is unable to present the evidence.
When everything in the evidence docket is that tiny and they drag it out to a 2-week trial, then it's all about the story of the evidence, not the evidence in itself.
No, that's very true. Thank you very much for the super sticker, Brandon. At least you're able to give me something, I guess. That's
Griselda
working. I don't know if
Hernandez
super
cannot
chats
be
are.
excluded as a source of the human DNA on those items.
YouTube is repressing my speech.
I think, can you, how about in regards to the
YouTube is my friend. YouTube does
stroller
nothing
seat
wrong.
belt buckle?
Yeah.
Stroller seat belt buckle.
I had the
1-3-2.
Zachariah Anderson T-shirt, but my girlfriend took it because it's an excellent nightgown for her. My size is her nightgown, so I
Backed it
don't
up
have
because
it anymore.
I backed it up because I wanted to hear this, and then I started reading chats and I forgot it all. So I'm playing it again. I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to hear what this statement was.
3-4-2.1. Griselda Hernandez cannot be excluded as a source of the human DNA on those items.
Oh,
So she cannot be excluded as the source of the DNA. That's the
is
the
that
woman,
touch
the mistress.
DNA or transfer DNA, or is it blood DNA?
I think, can you, how about
Thank you,
in
Flux.
regards to the
I'm not going to necessarily agree with your statement right
stroller
now.
seat belt buckle?
Stroller seat belt buckle. 1-3-2.1. Is that the correct one?
I have 1-3-2.1. Right.
Yes, Griselda Hernandez cannot be excluded as a source of the human DNA on those items.
Your Honor, just if I can have a minute, just so that I can show the jury the belt buckle and the rock, Your Honor.
That's all YouTube. I have no settings restrictions on my chat at all.
Yeah.
I leave it up to the moderators.
I tried to on Joe's channel a few days ago. He had his
They're not in yet, what you're saying?
birthday.
Is that
I
correct?
tried to make a joke, Jewish
Well,
jokes. I wrote Jewish, but that word was banned on YouTube. The word
it is.
Jewish.
Has the rock and the buckle been admitted?
But I'm watching a Jewish guy.
So that's, maybe you could show it to them then. Mr. Vahid,
Dennis, I tried. They
is that
banned
something
that
that you're
too.
going to present to council?
I had to
Okay. Maybe you can do
spell,
that over here instead of over there.
say
Like right here. At the,
I
on that
with
table, whatever you want.
small L, and instead of E, I used the pound
The box is already been
sign.
Yes, this is going to be done.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yep.
So,
Talk amongst yourselves.
okay, so you admitted the box, but not the contents of the box? How did that happen? All right, approach me.
It was a fun night yesterday. You should
He
have been here,
admi-
Nicholas.
He wanted the box. He only submitted the box into evidence, but not the actual what's in the box. Was not entered into evidence. That's hilarious. In all this horrific, that's oh wow.
You can't make those mistakes. It's no. You have to be better than that. It's
Yeah. Oh, gee, he only submitted the box, not the things in the box.
it's sometimes you're just wondering. These are the people who decides if you live or die.
Yeah. And they have an entire team watching this or handling this case.
2 days ago, they asked if they could leave all the evidence at the courthouse because they were. I think it was 16 bank boxes they had to move every day. So they know that where the evidence are, and they didn't bring some of it to court, and they didn't submit some of it, and But again, they have infamous money.
But when I watch some trials, I want, oh, I would never pass the bar in that state or that county. And then I see things like this, and all of a sudden, how hard can it be? Can I actually just take a trip to the US just to take the bar exam and pass?
Again, one of the Kardashians passed the bar in California.
Okay, so I'm going to California.
But I don't know if you need a BBL and a boob job to pass the bar.
Well, I have boobs, but or moves,
Moves.
or moves. So, but not that size. Maybe I should. Maybe next year, if my channel grows and somehow it creates some revenue that allows me to, I will go over and try to pass the bar in California.
We have more conference at the Mount here.
He only submitted the box into evidence, not what's in the box, not the actual evidence.
Okay.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? We don't know. It's not admitted into evidence, sir.
Yeah.
What a fool.
I mean, seriously, David, how hard is it to pass the bar in some states?
I don't know. I've never attempted in Texas. Although from what Uncivil says, the bar was kind of hard. So
okay. Yeah. But as Baker said, Kardashian passed the bar in California. So I might go for California.
So what are they trying to do? Clarify, rectify the record? Fix it all?
Probably.
Yeah, they're looking at all the...
That's a lot of evidence in that box, but they only submitted the actual box into evidence.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good morning, Ant. Welcome. Welcome. What's in
when
the box?
she passed
Yeah.
the minibar. Yeah. I never passed the... I have very hard time passing a bar, but not the bar, maybe.
Michigan, Massachusetts doesn't have continuing legal education. Neither does Michigan. You do if you do certain things. Like if you're going to do felony criminal defense, you have to do some stuff. But otherwise, not really.
Can I say something to Tweety?
Yeah. Your channel too,
Me and Nicholas is not the same person.
No, you see,
I have the shorter hair and no glasses. It's because she said I shouldn't. I gave too much information about my fiance's night attire, and I'm thinking I haven't had a fiance in more than 20 years, but people think we are the same person because we have the same kind of accent.
But we don't have the same kind of accent.
It sounds the same to me, guys. Sorry.
That's racist.
Yeah, it's very racist.
It's like when you're looking across the pond from here, there's not a lot of difference between Denmark and Sweden, except maybe your movies. The Swedish movies are fun. Danish movies are weird. Speaking of Nicholas, are we going to? While we got some downtime, I have now Jette Canal. I have all 4 movies. Do you want to do a joint stream of the first one, which is amazing?
Sure. Where? When?
I don't know. We could do it on Rumble, or we could do it probably not on YouTube. They'll copyright strike it. Or we could do it in Discord, or we could do it whenever. I just think it would be fun to watch it with you, and our chat and our member. We should do it as a member thing. I think.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie from 1981. It's a Swedish film.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a comedy. It's absolutely awesome. Let's see. I am trying to multitask here and send out thumbnails to everyone. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Tweety, it was Nicholas' girlfriend who wore the Zachariah Anderson t-shirt.
Yeah, because I'm a double or triple XL. She's not. So she uses it as a nightgown.
What? Oh, the shirt.
Yeah, I was talking about the shirt being a double or triple XL, nothing else.
was wondering, like, what? You calling her out here live on YouTube?
No. I am. She's not.
Okay. And Fedorowski has a suggestion. What's the Danish movie Nattevagten? That's a very, very fun movie.
Hmm.
It would. I think you would like it.
The last Danish movie I watched, it was about these two Danish film producers, and one was a writer and one was a film producer, and they came to Hollywood, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be kind of
Clown the movie.
Do you know the movie?
I hate Kasper Christensen and Frank Hvam. It's so bad.
And then apparently there's a mix up between the ladies.
Yeah, the one guy sleep with the other guy's daughter, and she's maybe pregnant, and but it's just generic trying to be funny on Danish television comedy.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good at all.
Very bad.
But I feel like it was just an excuse to have sort of a softcore movie. Everything seemed to revolve around that.
The first one, this is the second in the Clone series, or Clown. The first one, it's way more. It's just like it's college movie humor. It's
Okay.
TNA all the time.
So is it not a fair representation of Danish film? I watched it when I was in Sweden, and it was funny because it had Swedish subtitles, but Danish, and I didn't understand anything that was going on. But
well, if you like that kind of stupid humor, it's
it was really bad. It was just really...
but we have some great back in the 60s and 70s. We had some what we call folk comedies. They were pretty funny and still holds up. We have Olsenbanden about these three inept criminals who always use the most elaborate schemes to steal money and get caught in the end. But they're funny because
and that's a copy of Jönssonligan in Sweden, the Jönsson gang.
So Gigi is back on point. So I guess we should address this. So with the
Or
witness
it might have
system,
been it might have been the other way around, that Sweden stole it from Denmark. It might have been.
well, we steal a lot of Swedish films, so that's fair.
Yeah. One Swedish film that actually held up is Let the Right One In.
I don't know that one.
Let the Right One In. It's a Swedish film noir vampire story that got Hollywoodized, but the Hollywood version was actually good.
So I just watched. I love A Man Named Uwe, and they just remade that with Tom Hanks. A Man Named something, and I thought they captured the spirit of the original Swedish film very well.
Yeah.
I'm still yet. I want to see. Actually, no, I don't want to see it. I love the 100-Year-Old Man, and the Swedish version of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is way better than the U.S. version.
Oh yeah, there's no comparison. And if sadly Stieg Larsson passed away, and he's the one who wrote the books. What the movies are based on, but instead of his permanent girlfriend inheriting the rights, his brother and father sued for the rights and won, sadly, because he didn't have a will. They weren't married, and he was 20 years estranged from his brother and father, and now they are making a ton of money out of something.
What kind of laws do you have in Sweden?
Yeah, it's weird, but that's a combination of inheritance law and copyright law. Copyright law doesn't necessarily go by inheritance, so they had a stronger right to the rights of. I don't know how the court came to that conclusion, and that is why I refuse to watch the movies, because every penny goes into those two persons' pockets, which I, not by law, but by moral, that they stole from her.
Reindeer wants to know where the skunk-haired defense attorney is. That's a good question. Have we seen her today?
Nope, she hasn't been there today.
Maybe she had a class to teach. She is a professor after all. Let's go, Brandon. Thank you very much for the 99-cent super sticker. I don't know why they're not allowing you to chat, but I appreciate the super stickers. And Wolfram, a Swede and a Dane walk into a bar. Are you over their accents? Yeah, that's about right.
If a Swede and a Dane walk into a bar, we don't argue about accents because we don't understand each other.
We speak English, and then we'll start drinking and start arguing about who's the wrong kind of Vikings, because Nicholas's Vikings went east and we went west, and we were the better Vikings. Just there wasn't any doubt about it, but Nicholas's would probably falsely claim they are better.
Yeah, we are responsible for Russia and Ukraine, and the Danes are responsible for everybody in Ireland actually being Danes.
All right.
May not.
Gigi's been asking this a lot for me to explain this. I'm going to try to pull it up and get to it.
Recognize it?
Yes.
Now we're back. All right, let me pause real quick. So what she's saying is that the blood could not be excluded as belonging to the mistress. I can't remember her name, so I'm just going to call her the mistress. And what that means is it could be hers or it could be the child's, as it, the child's DNA obviously would come partially from her. And these are preliminary tests again. So they're not saying it is her, but they're not 100% excluding her, saying it's someone else entirely yet. So further testing is needed, and maybe that's what's in the box. We'll find out.
Thank you, Tweety.
It's a tape-sealed manila envelope. It says that it contains a seatbelt buckle from, I can't read what this says, but it says from a stroller.
Okay. And you conducted analysis on this item?
Yes.
Request to publish on the EE or Elmore, Your Honor. States Exhibit 47.4 for the record. Is that the belt buckle?
Yes. Would you mind turning the label around so I can see what exhibit number? Thank you.
What he also got mixed up was the defendant's buckle
Yes.
swab, so that still
And
needs
you
to
said
come
again
in.
that, what were your findings in regards to this item?
So on that item, I took a swab from that item, and Griselda Hernandez was not excluded as a source of the human DNA on that item.
I'm going to speed it up a touch. If it's too fast, guys, let me know. I just want to get caught up to live as much as we can.
And what does not excluded mean?
Not excluded means that when I made the comparison between the unknown profile and the known profiles of the three individuals, that there was a match between the profile of Griselda Hernandez and that item.
Okay, so let's move on. So now let me show you State Exhibit 4. Can I approach around? So can you tell us what this pertains to in your report?
So States Exhibit 4.
I don't know if it
is
means it's
my
probably
Exhibit
hers.
15-8. That's on a separate report. That's
It
not
could
on
be the
It's
child's.
on States Exhibit.
Yeah, but can't I distinguish if it's male or female?
So would that be on States Exhibit 520?
Everything I hear from this witness, she's saying that these are still preliminary tests. They
Okay.
can't be excluded. So I hope
Is
that
this
they would
the
have some sort
serology
of
report
definitive
from
answer
February?
at some point.
Yes.
Ms. President. So what does States Exhibit 4 correspond to in this report?
So they're labeled as two DNA swabs, and I labeled them as, there's two items in here. And so they were subbed out as 15-8-1 and 15-8-2. And I labeled them as swab from R. Burgos-Aviles.
I'm gonna show you. It's been marked as State's Exhibit 7, Your Honor.
Approach liberally, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you tell us where that corresponds to and which of your reports would be the February?
Yes, this would be the February 5th serology report as well. This is my item 15-7. There's 4 items in this envelope, which I subbed out. They're all 4 swabs. The 2 first ones, number 1 and number 2, are from a Cricket cell phone, back and front. And then items 3 and 4 are from a Samsung cell phone, front and back.
And what is your, I guess I'll go ahead and show you State's Exhibit 21. Can you tell us what your findings concluded in regards to these items? I guess we can take it first with Michelle.
21, was that one of the
So
ones that was
quiet all of a
originally
sudden.
admitted?
Yes, Your Honor.
But we don't have it as admitted. Do you have it, Cindy? Can you check your list? 21?
Yeah, it's 521. I had asked.
Oh, 521.
It was about
We
6
heard you say
reports.
21.
No, 521, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
So again, can you tell us what the findings were in regards to the items that you just stated are in State's Exhibit
7.
7?
So just to clarify,
Yes, but they should go into more detail, Brandon. That's kind of what I was getting at. They should talk about the millions of likelihoods of people and things like that, that it would be this particular person. That's what I'm waiting on.
for serology purposes, for the screening of the items, the 4 items in States Exhibit 7, which were my 15-7-1, 2, 3, and 4, they all were positive for the presumptive presence of blood. Do you want me to cover 15-8 as well, the previous?
Yes.
So 15-8, they were just retained because they were just swabs taken from an individual. They didn't have any biological soiling on them. So they were one of those touch DNA swabs that I described. So I just retained them without any presumptive testing. And then do you want me to
Yes.
look at the DNA results?
Yes, and what were the results? Your findings?
I just got an email from YouTube. After a manual survey of your video, it's appropriate for all ads. It's the trial of Jeffrey Dahmer part 2.
Oh, they limited you?
Page number?
They limited,
Yes, I'm
but
trying to
now
find
it's
them
approved,
first on my report.
Nice.
like a week later. So
Okay, so
it doesn't help me because now everybody who wanted to
we're
watch
looking at
it already have watched
15,
it.
7, 1, 2, 3, and
Right.
4.
But I'm not sure why they approved this and not some of my other content, because that's the
It will help.
prosecution's
You know what
opening
paper that
statement.
we direct the witness to
And
that
it's
page?
detailed about cannibalism and SA. I have no idea how they managed to approve that, but not other things I've.
If you already
yeah.
had it, then.
We do not
Yeah.
question YouTube. YouTube is our friend. YouTube does
Yeah,
nothing
YouTube
wrong.
is our friend. Yeah.
It's kind of like the state. Always trust the state. They know best.
Yes?
I was going for a 1984
Yeah, so
vibe
I
when
ha-
I talk about YouTube.
I have 15.7.4 here. So there's human DNA consistent with 2 contributors on that item. Dominic Hernandez is not excluded, and Griselda Hernandez and Ronald Burgos-Aviles are excluded as a source of the major contributor of human DNA on that item. There was additional human DNA not attributed to Dominic Hernandez, but was of an insufficient quantity and quality for me to do anything with that additional DNA.
So what does that mean?
So that means that there's a major profile that I can attribute to someone or make a comparison with someone, and then there's very low level amounts of DNA that I don't feel comfortable using. It's just it's not enough to use it to make any sort of comparison. So I don't make a comparison to anybody. I just say that there's an insufficient amount to do anything with it.
So you would you say
This
you need
was
more?
so
DNA
the
matter
sample
of-
was
Correct.
too
I
small.
would need a more
So
robust profile.
Instead of
So,
destroying it
I was
and
just gonna say
may
that
or may not
major
have
contributor, and that's
gotten
why
a
I made the
result,
comparison.
she
So
chose
from the
to not
major
test
component-
it, which is the opposite of what happened in the Zach Anderson case, where they tested and destroyed the sample, so it can't be retested. And
And
now we have,
is
she's got integrity.
Yeah, but is this kind of a wet fart? We were expecting a really, really good
Yeah,
DNA evidence, and she's saying, well, there's some DNA, but whose and what and how much, we don't know.
cannot be excluded. I mean, yeah.
And as we saw in the Zachariah Anderson case, and what we were all yelling about is, if it's DNA evidence, it's in the million, trillion, billions that it's this guy or that guy, if it's evidence.
John,
One of us is muted, and it's not Nicholas and I.
I was muted.
John, it was large enough to be tested, but as a criminal forensic scientist have to take in account, can it be retested? Because if you destroy the sample, it's gone. So they have to take that in account when they choose what to test.
Yes.
Of that item, Dominic Hernandez is not excluded and the other two individuals are excluded.
And again, when you mean not excluded, what does that mean?
That there was a match between the known profile and the unknown profile.
How strong is that match, though?
Yeah.
It was on which item? Can you tell us again?
1574, which is the Samsung cell phone, the back.
How about
That's the baby burner phone. You would expect the baby's DNA to be on there.
Should we go down maybe 1 to 2 paragraphs?
Okay.
What do your findings show there?
So that one is, so if you go to the paragraph before that, it talks about the Cricket cell phone front. I don't know if you wanted to cover that as well. That's 15-7-2.
Yes.
So on that one, there was DNA consistent with originating from 2 or more contributors on that item. Dominic Hernandez and Griselda Hernandez are each not excluded, which means that when I compared the profile on the item, which is a mixture profile, they each could not be excluded as a contributor of the DNA, and Ronald Burgos-Aviles is excluded from that item. That's the Cricket cell phone front.
And then
The defendant's
So
DNA
the
is
following
excluded
paragraph
from the
is
phones.
a match statistic. So it's basically giving the jury the weight of that evidence, because when I say not excluded, what does that mean? So the match statistic that we use is called a random match probability. It means what is the chance of me going out into a random population of people? So the jury, for example, if I pulled one of you and developed your known genetic profile, what is the chance that your profile would also match that on the unknown sample? And so in this case, for those items that we discussed, the RMP, or the random match probability, is, and I'll give you the most conservative one, or the smallest number, would be 1 in 53 octillion people.
What about sextillion? Can we go to the
can you
sextillion?
explain that number in layman's terms for us?
So people like to think of it as like, what's the population of the world? That's typically what I get asked, which it has nothing to do with. It's a statistic, but there's 7 billion people on the planet, and this would be like many, many sets of decimals over from that. It's octillion. So I would say that this profile is very rare in a population. So it'd be very hard to find another individual that had the same profile.
And then I'm approaching you to show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 8. Can you tell me what that is?
So this is my exhibit 16-3. It's labeled as 2 swabs from the tailgate of a truck with a license, or a driver's license plate number K66119.
Where the
Kilo
border
number
patrol
what was that?
agent
Kilo number what?
threw
Kilo 66119.
bloody gloves onto.
Now,
Why do they present the DNA of that when he is already admitted to throwing
there's a
gloves
number
into the back of the truck?
written on that.
It's on the outside.
Oh, outside.
Bottom.
Yeah, but if he walks over there with his bloody gloves, it's not
Can you read that number?
impossible. When he throws it, it will spread DNA all over it.
Right.
Is it the state's exhibit number you're talking
No,
about?
there's
Or?
a no hashtag.
Oh, item number 1.
Jung, they're not in Florida. They're in Texas. It's a dry
This
heat in
is
Texas.
States Exhibit 217, which is the back
Yeah.
of the tailgate with some blood. It's been then marked number 1. What number is that right here?
Yeah, but that
1.
we already got the explanation for
Is the item
that.
you tested?
I
That's-
don't know if that is the item I tested, because I
It may
did
not
not see
be
that
from
truck.
the
So
other border
this is
guard
the item I tested.
touching.
Whatever's in this envelope.
I like her. She said, "Well, I can't attest to it being on that smudge on the picture because I only saw
So,
the
where
swab."
did the swabs come from?
The swabs are labeled as coming from the tailgate of truck K66119.
Okay, thank you. And so I guess let's stick to these the DNA forensic DNA report where. And I'll go ahead and
Excuse me for a minute.
Report. It is 16-3.1. Swab test from tailgate of truck K66119. Can you tell us what your findings were after doing your analysis?
Yes, so on that item, there was human DNA consistent with originating from 2 or more contributors. Dominic Hernandez is not excluded, and Griselda Hernandez and Ronald Aviles are excluded as a source of the major contributor of human DNA on that item as well. There was additional DNA not attributed to Dominic Hernandez, but was of an insufficient quantity.
Okay. so two things. Dominic Hernandez was not excluded. Again, can you remind us what that means?
That there was a match between the known profile of Dominic Hernandez and that item.
And you said that there was more, but that you couldn't attribute it. Can you again remind us what that means?
Just that there was an insufficient amount for me to develop a profile suitable for comparison.
In other words, you would need more.
Correct.
Flux, people change when they have kids. Apparently, even if they adopt them.
Okay, so you testified that you had the genetic profiles kind of as a control where you have the DNA profile and then you use it as a control when you analyze the items, and then you can use that control to determine whose biological sample was on which item, correct?
So I can get anybody's known profile and I would be able to compare that known profile to the unknown profiles. So yes, I have known profiles taken from individuals that I'm then making comparisons to the unknown items in the case with the objective of making a comparison between the two to see if someone is excluded or not excluded.
And you testified that he had Dominic's, what was that term you used? Known sample?
Correct.
And Mr. Burgos' known sample.
Correct.
So specifically when it comes to Dominic Hernandez and Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles, did you conclude anything after comparing their samples with one another?
Are you talking about in terms of like a paternity or?
Yes, in regards to paternity, what did you conclude after comparing their samples?
So that's back on the first DNA report. So I was asked to perform a sort of like a biological parentage analysis between the three individuals. So we know that Griselda Hernandez is the biological mother of Dominic Hernandez, and we know that children inherit half of their mom's DNA and half of their father's DNA. So what's left, I would subtract out the mother's contribution to his profile, and what's left are called obligate paternal alleles, which means that the biological father had to give those alleles to the child. And so with the obligate paternal alleles, you can compare any man's known profile, that's an alleged father, for example, to those obligate paternal alleles. And so I made a comparison between Ronald Burgos's DNA profile and that of Dominic Hernandez, and Ronald Burgos cannot be excluded as a biological parent of Dominic Hernandez.
Cannot be excluded. There's that term again.
That's the same term, yes.
Same term as what we were discussing in the previous.
So to summarize what we've heard so far, the blood that was contained on the vehicle is identified as also being a match for the child. As Murph says, the Border Patrol agent who had the gloves on, he touched the woman's body, not the child. So there's no excuse for that blood being on the vehicle unless he touched a child, which he didn't touch the child, he says anyways, and there's no evidence to dispute that. And this is in fact the biological father of the child, the defendant is. So it's looking more and more like he done it.
But
my previous questions.
Yes.
What's that?
Okay.
they can't exclude him. That's not a certainty. They can't exclude him as the
No,
father.
It's 1 in 10 million times the population of the earth that it's
I didn't get that part.
Well, she said that you can't. She just said there that we can't exclude him as the father, meaning, and then she went through the analysis of what does that mean, and she said, well, that's 1 in like 10 octillion.
Yeah, but when we're presented DNA evidence in court, they say it's 10 octillion times more likely it's the father. What's his name in this case, Ronald, than any other known sample.
Mm-hmm.
So they turn it around and not say, well, we can't exclude him. They say this is very hard evidence that it is him, more likely by million times than any other person.
Yes, and I think it's maybe just the way it's being presented, because she says we can't exclude him, or we can't exclude the child, and then he says, okay, what do you mean by you can't exclude? And then she says, well, the likelihood, we don't know for certain, but the likelihood of this being anyone else in the world is 1 in like 10 octillion or something.
Yeah, but the can't exclude to me just sounds, if I'm listening, and I have been in my chat, so I haven't been listening 100%, but not excluded is yeah, it could be him. Where when we're presented in Denmark, it said it's at octillion time more likely to be Ronald than any other person. Then it's hard evidence.
Possibly.
But maybe it's just me.
No.
No, possibly. I mean, John agrees too that they're kind of presenting it. It's not how I would want it presented, but I'm just listening kind of for the numbers rather than how it's presented. I have no idea how the jury's going to perceive it, but to me, it's enough to say that this is the guy.
and as like Excited says, than any other known sample. Then again, it could be someone else. It's just a phrasing. To me, it seems wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Can you explain to the jury what a combined parentage index is?
Yes, it's basically the same thing. It's like a likelihood ratio or statistic for the jury to understand what that means, that he's not excluded as a biological parent. So in this case, it was a probability of parentage of greater than 99.9%.
Okay. I'm going to approach you real quick. Just put on my gloves. So I'm going to approach and show you as the mark that states Exhibit 46.3. You recognize this item? You don't have to say what it is, just to recognize it.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you recognize it?
I have my CIL on it, as well as my initials, the date, and the exhibit number.
Okay. I'm tendering to defense. States Exhibit 46.3 for any objection.
Yeah, everyone wants the Maury Povich, you are the father sort of moment, and I don't know. That's not how it's presented in court, I guess.
Defense
I
has no
want the
objection,
one
Your
where
Honor. Because
you are
States
not the
Exhibit
father
43.
and they're throwing chairs around and start fighting.
46.
46, what?
Point 3.
0.3. Thank you.
Greater than 99.9 is not 100. That is true. But think of the raincoat. Think of the raincoat.
And can you tell us what that is?
So this is a swab box that would contain swabs inside of it.
Pertaining to
These are labeled as buccal swab samples collected from the inner mouth of Ronald Anthony Burgos.
I would say the people that are going to make sure she's not lying and she's being consistent are the defense team, because they would presumably have experts that would have reviewed this as well. They have experts for everything
another
else.
item that I want to show you. States Exhibit, remark as States Exhibit 35. Can you tell us what that is?
So this is labeled as a black in color belt keeper found on the driver's side floorboard of a Ford F-150 truck of Border Patrol Unit K66119.
And Your Honor, this is already been admitted. It's States Exhibit 35.
I agree,
Was that
Grant.
47, that bag, the big bag? The big bag.
They need a really good
There is no
cross here.
46 yet, right? Because that's 46.3.
I have a feeling they don't have one. I have a feeling they don't have a good cross. And I'm basing this off of the opening statement that was made.
Just wanted to know, we have 46.3, but there is no 46 yet. Thank you. You can proceed. Just want to make sure we don't get mixed up.
Are these low rent private attorneys? You should. Yeah, they're private from what I understand, from what I'm gathering from the information I have.
Well, Your Honor.
But yeah, they are not.
I'm showing you
They're not objecting a lot.
Can you
Doing a lot of all.
Do you recognize it?
Much.
Yes,
How do you recognize it?
it has the CIL, my initials, the date, and the exhibit number on it.
I'm tendering to defense for any objections what's been marked as States Exhibit 46, Your Honor.
The defendant appeared to not know them, not know the woman nor the child when he was at the scene. The officers testified that he didn't say he knew them, essentially. And he was kind of smuggy in
Any
the
objection, Mr.
back of the
Payne?
patrol car.
46, state 46 is in.
And before I get into your findings and all that, let me just show you the item.
And this is going to be which item, Mr. Rahid?
This is States Exhibit 35, Your Honor.
That's it. How many bags are in there? One? Sorry.
Yeah, he does kind of look eager, right? The defense counsel looks eager to jump up and start crossing.
Do you recognize this item?
Yes,
I'm going to go ahead and request permission to publish it, Your Honor.
May.
Is that the item you analyzed?
yes.
Okay, and so let me I believe this one was an item in the first
Murph,
report.
do you know
Yes.
if he was offered a plea deal? Yeah, no way this guy was smug, right?
Would it be?
It's 11-8.
Exactly like he is now. He hasn't changed his face at all. He sits there with his
11,
hand on his face, and he just
And so
sits there.
I'll go ahead and I'll publish the the DNA report. Okay. So after conducting an analysis of this bellkeeper, what were your findings?
So that bellkeeper tested positive for the presumptive presence of blood during serology. I took 3 different swabs from that item, from 3 different blood stains. Because there's multiple people involved, usually I would take separate swabs just in case. So I retained 3 different swabs. So on the DNA report, they're itemized as 11-8.1, 2, and 3. Do you want me to talk about the results for the DNA?
What were your findings?
On all 3 of those swabs from that bellkeeper, Griselda Hernandez is not excluded as a source of the DNA, and Dominic Hernandez and Ronald Burgos-Aviles are excluded.
And again, there's that term again. Is it the same? When you mean by not excluded, it means the same as we were discussing before.
Yes.
Pip, I don't do death penalty cases. We don't have it in Michigan. I have no idea. But regardless of the sentencing, he shouldn't take the stand. Yeah, he also did lie about his first name and didn't produce his ID when the police showed up. So
And
that's
he
how
was-
he responded.
And he was oddly talking about, did you find her car? Did you know anything about her and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. I didn't watch Kim Potter. Not intently. I kind of sort of watched it, but not like every single second of it. I did think she got kind of a raw deal though.
Yeah, she's been released for.
Yeah.
She didn't serve that long, but yeah, it's and it's the crazy thing was she was a disc jockey and was put out because of all the trouble you had in the U.S. and she wasn't supposed to be on the streets.
Dirk, hello, welcome.
Hey,
I
Dirk.
blame you for everything that happened yesterday, by the way, Dirk. Brandon finished it, but you started it.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Bog.
Sorry, the builders had some questions. I had to
Good morning,
direct them.
Ms. Ramos.
Good morning.
Ms. Ramos, on direct examination, you were asked a question. You were shown a picture of an exhibit, and you were asked, "Is this the item you tested?" And you said, "I don't know. I tested what was in the envelope." Is that correct?
Correct.
And you didn't perform any of the evidence collection in this case. Is that correct?
I did not.
And
Different attorney than we thought, Mr.
results
Crossing.
and the conclusions from them, as far as evidence to be believed by the jury, is only as good as the evidence collection process. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're not here to tell this jury that the evidence collection was proper or perfect, or offer any information about the evidence collection, are you?
I have no opinion about the evidence collection. No.
And so, for instance, you testified about blood on the stroller seat belt buckle. You don't know anything about how the blood came to be on the stroller seat belt buckle, correct?
No, I do not.
And you don't know how the stroller seat belt buckle was collected, correct?
I do not.
And you don't know what any of the people on the scene did with that stroller seat belt buckle prior to it even being
Objection, Honor,
collected,
speculation.
correct?
I do not.
And contamination is the biggest enemy of proper DNA analysis. Is that
This
correct?
is where
or
they're
a fair thing to
starting,
say?
reindeer.
That
Doesn't
is
mean that's
fair,
where they're
yes.
finishing.
And you have no control over contamination at the scene, correct?
Correct.
And for instance, DNA transfer at the scene may cause your results to be meaningless. Is that correct?
My results to me are my results. I don't know what meaningless means to anybody else, but I'm speaking for the evidence that's submitted.
So you
Good answer.
testified about a belt keeper possible match to Mr. Burgos-Aviles. Is that correct?
No, I believe he was excluded from the belt keeper.
He was excluded from the belt keeper.
Correct.
He was a match to the blood that was purportedly collected from the back of the truck. Is that correct?
No, that is also not correct.
I apologize. Could you, what was the result of the testing regarding what is purported to be the blood from the back of the truck regarding Mr. Burgos-Aviles?
So he was excluded as a donor of the DNA on the belt keeper. Let me go back to the truck.
Oh, I just realized it's noon.
Hey,
I'm sorry, guys. It's noon. I got to be over on Laid Back News. I thought we were going to be a lot further. Let me just see where we are. Okay, we're 15 minutes behind. Oh, and the court goes on break. All right, let's just finish. The court goes on break. We'll finish this up, and then just so you know, I'm going on Laid Back News, and then I've got the next stream.
That one's item 16-3.1.
at 2:30.
So from that item, Dominic Hernandez is not excluded, and Griselda Hernandez and Ronald Burgos-Aviles are excluded.
And so, if I could just have one moment. I apologize.
I believe you guys are being redirected to it.
A couple questions, Your Honor. Just a couple.
Yeah.
Ms. Morales, I think you had stated earlier in your direct examination that you had also analyzed the fingernail clippings of the defendant, Mr. Burgos.
Yes, I received fingernail clippings from Ronald Burgos-Aviles. I'll need a reminder of which report it's on, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
I'm on that. If it's on, I believe it's on your July 30th, 2018. If you look at 8.3-1-1, swab from right hand fingernails.
Yes,
And there's two. Then there's the left, and there's also right hand fingernail clippings.
correct.
So I guess now let's go to. So let me just publish 518 to show the jury what I'm referring to, or the court.
Judge, objection. I believe this is beyond the scope of the cross-examination.
So again,
was it any
here it is.
DNA evidence that was, yeah, that's the hammer on the nail? I was gone for a bit.
You just testified that yes, you did have some fingernails.
Not really.
Of the defendant.
Correct.
I mean, I didn't think
Now let's
so.
go to State's
The
Exhibit
belt
19,
extender
which is your
thingy.
Forensic DNA report.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us what your findings were in regards to those items?
So on the first item, which is the swab
Yeah.
tip from
Did
the
the
right
Border
hand
Patrol
fingernails of
guy
Ronald
tosses
Burgos-Aviles, there was
his
human
glove
DNA
into
which
the
could
back
not
of
be
his truck?
attributed to him, but was of an insufficient quantity to develop a profile for comparison.
Meaning there was DNA, not from him, just you didn't have enough to make a determination as to who it could have been.
Correct.
And belt keeper. That's what
And
it
the other
was.
two items in
Belt
question,
keeper,
the left-hand fingernails of Ronald Burgos-Aviles and the right-hand fingernail clippings, there was no human DNA foreign to Ronald Burgos-Aviles on those items.
What hand was that again?
The no human DNA foreign to
Yes.
was the left-hand fingernails and the right-hand fingernail clippings.
No further questions, Ron.
No recalls.
Thank you, Ron. If you are excused, you may go about your business.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
Okay. So the court's going on break right now.
I'm
And
going to give you a real quick break, and then we'll be right back.
they're still on break as we speak. So that's the current live feed. All right. So I'm going to keep that up. And hang on. There we go. Let me get the banner off of Nicholas. There we go. All right. So that's going to be the morning stream for you all today. And we're going to pick back up right where we left off. I'm going to go over to Laid Back News. And we will be able to come back here at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time for the remainder of this trial today. I believe they're going to get off early, and then by the time I start, we'll get caught up from where we were. We'll easily get caught up to live by the time the stream ends today for the afternoon. So check out part 2, which I already have set up. and hit the notification button so you get a link for that, because I can't obviously link you guys back from Laid Back News to my afternoon stream unless Eric agrees to. Maybe he will. But Nicholas, what are your thoughts?
I have questions, but not enough good questions.
Okay.
I mean, the DNA didn't really change anything for me. Yeah, I
No?
was hoping for much better DNA, but it didn't really change my opinion about the totality of the state's case.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I feel like I'm indifferent to the DNA. I thought it was good, although some people are questioning it in the chat and on the panel here, whether or not it's sufficient. Baker obviously wanted to see it presented a little differently. I didn't really like the way it was presented either. When she started saying he could not be excluded, and then I don't know, but see, I have mixed feelings, because for me personally, I would be like, all right, let's cut to the chase. Is this the person's? Is this the defendant's DNA? Yes, it is. Okay. Why do you think that? Well, because it could not be excluded. Okay. What do you mean by it could not be excluded? Well, it would have to be, the likelihood that it's somebody else is 1 in 10 octillion. Okay, great. I would present it that way. And so I'm okay with that.
That's why I said in Denmark we do it. It's an octillion times more likely to be this guy than any other known sample. Instead of we couldn't rule it out that it was this guy, because it's a negative or a positive, and when you hear we couldn't exclude him, so someone else could be on this sample.
Yeah.
Even though she then explains that it means 8 octillion, so it's just different from probably from state to state how you present it, and maybe they had some ruling in Texas because someone botched the DNA at some time, so they have to put it that way. I don't know, but in my mind, I just like the positive of it's 8 million times more likely to be him than than anyone else.
But see, that's the question. Half Irish. If was it testified that the DNA under the nails was hers? Right. Well, I mean, was that the testimony that came out? I didn't really hear that definitively.
No, there was no evidence under the nails. But Tweedy says, the belt buckle thingy in the back of his car with her blood on it could be the nail. But did people pick up on that?
That was bad. The child's blood on the truck is bad.
Yeah, I thought the truck or the child's blood on the truck and the belt keeper.
Yeah. And those were the things. I would have gone through all this. It could be, it should be, maybe, and then ended it with saying, but on the belt buckle found in the back of the car, it's 1 million times more likely to be the Griselda's than anyone else, and the baby's blood were on the back of the car, and we have no indications that he was anywhere near the baby's body. So that would hammer it home for me, and then I would have stopped right there. But it seems like we keep going, and that's the big problem. I can't see what cliffhanger they're going to end up in. Like I told Søren earlier, the state has to rest on a really, really high note, so the jury remembers that when the defense starts to unravel the mystery.
Yeah, and so I thought the witnesses yesterday was a great place for them to end, especially the FBI agent. That would have been, a great place for them to end, and it is what it is. They're still going, apparently. So we'll be back here in about 2.5 hours for the continuation of this. We'll see who all on the panel wants to join me. Jamie, I'm sure. Nicholas and Baker, you guys are late, but if you want, I'll send you all links. In the meantime, I'm not going to do end credits. I'm just going to send you guys straight over to Laid Back News, and then I can get over there. If
and subscribe to me so I can keep getting ahead of David in subscriber count, because David is catching up on me, and we can't have that. Can we?
and I don't want a hit from David, but still, I'd like a subscription from you.
If you guys love this trial today, go on over to Nicholas Staroff's Trial Watch. Go to Broken Baker, subscribe, watch their videos, and check them out. They got a lot of good stuff. So, but we'll be back again in links. There's a link I posted in the chat for Laid Back. You guys are going to be redirected. Here is Wendy just posted Nicholas's, and Baker's is pinned at the top. So Baker's link is pinned at the top of this chat. So you guys can go over to his as well. And we'll see y'all back here. Yeah, I know he already started. We'll see y'all back here. All right. Bye, guys.
See you.